and lead. Live exemplarily, love authentically, and lead relationally. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host, a certified executive coach, an award-winning leadership consultant, a global speaker and author, the CEO of Inspired Leaders International, an international leadership development firm that empowers leaders to transform nations, and the provincial or national president of the Fathers Union in Uganda. It's a pleasure to have you today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching us from around the world. This program, the Inspired Family Leader Program, exists to equip, to empower, to challenge, to inspire the men so that they are able to expand their family leadership capacity for national transformation. And today we are talking about a critical and very important topic: the power of a man's values. So if your son is somewhere outside the house, please call him to come in and sit down and watch the program. If your husband is in the bedroom, call him to sit down and now watch the program as we talk together about the power of a man's values. And you can be sure, as we talk about the power of a man's values, even you as a lady who could be watching, as a woman, my sister, my auntie, my daughter, you will be benefiting tremendously, because we are talking about principles of life that are not gender specific, though this program exists to equip the family leaders, particularly the men. The power of a man's values. Now, many years ago, close to 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago in fact, I studied that if you are to claim to say you are educated, you need to be equipped in the 3 domains of learning, or the 3 domains of education. Number 1 is the cognitive domain. Number 2 is the psychomotor domain. And number 3 is the affective domain. Especially people in the educational world will understand this even much more because they study these things. When they say cognitive as number 1, they mean of the mind, something of the mind. When they talk about psychomotor, they mean, something to do with movement of the body, locomotion. When they say affective domain, it comes from the word affection. And therefore, when we talk about the cognitive domain, to claim you have been educated, the cognitive domain, you need to have information. Your mind, your head has to be filled with the right information about the things that matter. You need to have the knowledge, the theories about some things, information. You should have acquired some facts about certain things in life. When we say psychomotor, now, that's about the skills in life that you need to not only know, you also need to know how. Know how to do things. Know how to do things, not only just about having the knowledge, but also having the skills. That is the psychomotor domain. And then the third one that we talked about, the affection, matters of values, matters of attitudes. The values and the attitudes and the principles around which your life rotates. So if you are to summarize them, you would say, we are talking about the head, we are talking about the hand, we are talking about the heart. So if you are to claim to be educated, you need to be having the knowledge or the information in your head. You need to be having the skills in your hand and any other part of your body that you use concerning the skills that you have. And then also the affection, the affective domain, or the values. So today, we've been talking about the knowledge, we've been talking about the head, we've been talking about, people who have master's degrees, MBAs and PhDs and diplomas and certificates in many things. Largely equipping them in the area of knowledge, the head, giving them information. theories, the knowledge. Sometimes some of those courses, some of those programs, they also equip the people to have some skills. Whether it's public speaking skills, whether it is leadership skills, whether it is emotional intelligence skills, whatever it is, many different kinds of skills, IT skills. But very few programs, very few opportunities and platforms are out there to equip the human being with the values around which his life should rotate. And so this is a critical topic that we are dealing with today, the power of a man's values. When we talk about values, values are a standard of lifestyle. Values are an advanced decision on how you would handle situations. If you say my value is integrity, then it means that you are making a decision in advance that the next time somebody brings you a bribe, you will not receive it. So that's advanced decision on how you will live your life. Values are indicators of commitment to a certain lifestyle. Values are guideposts for behavior and conduct. This is how I will behave. This is how I will conduct myself, and I will base it on this tenet and this tenet and this tenet. These are my values. Now, I know that most of you who are watching today, maybe you work in an organization, an NGO, a government entity, a corporation, a business conglomerate, wherever you are, maybe a faith center, and on the walls of the offices, you have those things you call core values. Our core values are this and this and this and this. Today, I had an opportunity to address about 50 lawyers from Uganda Revenue Authority in Jinja, in eastern Uganda. And I was talking about shaping the transformation agenda for the new financial year 2023-2024, branding the litigation division as a pace setter. And I came to understand that the values of the Uganda Revenue Authority have something to do with professionalism, something to do with integrity, So in our companies, we have those values. I work at Inspired Leaders International. 5 values of the company: professionalism, relationships, integrity, excellence, and respect. But do we ever take a moment and we get them from those organizations, and we also have values in our homes? For example, the values of my home form the acronym of SLIDE: service, love, integrity, discipline, and excellence. And as a man of the house, we came together, I brought together my family, and we went through a process of arriving at the family values. Now, those being the values of my family, they have become my personal values as a man. Now, having shared with you my story and laid this great background, today I have somebody in studios to help us make more sense of what we are talking about, of these things that I am sharing with you. He's been here since the start of the program, and I have now shared this section of my conversation. I would like to now, at this point, bring him in, talking about the power of a man's values. And that's none other than Mr. Jothn Tereraho, who is the Provincial Head of Laity of the Church of Uganda and an education consultant with the World Vision Uganda. John, you are very welcome.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
After quite a long time.
Sure, thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
How is home?
Home is beautiful. I had a nice Saturday. I spent the whole day at home.
Interesting.
And I like being at home.
Okay, you're not like some of the men that don't like being at home.
I like being at home.
Yes.
And I spent the whole day with my family because my work schedule is usually hard. I wake up very early in the morning. I start my day at around 6. Sometimes I reach home at 7.
Yeah.
And so on a Saturday, if I don't have something very serious, a very serious engagement, I really want to find time to be at home, to interact with everyone at home.
Is that connected with one of your values?
Yeah,
Or it's coincidental, accidental.
No, it is a key value. Being at home is very important. Then you have an opportunity of checking your house.
Yes.
checking what is right, what is not right,
Yes.
fixing small things that you should be fixing yourself.
Having a
And even
conversation
having
in
a
family.
conversation with your dear one. I have a grandson. He's coming 2 years, and so I spent the day with him, and my wife too, because we rarely have time during the day, so we spend the whole day together.
Okay.
And that is very important for me.
Wow.
Yes.
Good to hear that, and you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So you've been hearing these things I've been sharing ever since the beginning concerning the values, how we often have, these corporate values in the workplace, but we don't have them in our families. There are very few men that have values in their own life. So, from your angle, what are values exactly? From your angle?
Sam, you have explained so well. I was listening to you. I don't have so much to add.
Okay.
I really do not have a lot to add. But values are principles and standards of behavior.
Okay, principles and standards.
These are principles and standards of behavior. These define what is important for us. They define how we are going to live our lives. They define how we are going to conduct ourselves. They guide our behavior. They guide our relationship with others. They guide the way we work, the way we live. They are a compass. They provide direction to our lives. So values are a compass for directing our lives.
Yes.
And the values are actually what define people. So if you don't care about being at home, but for me, spending a day at home, and I like it, and I can spend more days if I'm not busy or I don't have many other commitments elsewhere. But being at home is something I love, is something I like. So and that's it.
Okay. Maybe share a few of the examples of values.
I work with World Vision, as you said, and in World Vision, we have core values, but we also have values as families, and it is important that every family actually has its own values. Now at World Vision, we are Christian. We are Christian.
Yes.
We value people. We are partners. We have those core values. We value people. We are partners. We also serve the poor, work with the poor, and those are core values. Now, as a family at home, we are Christian, and that's core. That's core. On our business. So whoever wants to do whatever they want to do at home, they must remember that what defines us, first and foremost, is that we are Christian.
Okay.
So, and Christians love each other. Christians respect each other.
So love,
Christians,
respect,
yes.
Those are the values.
Yes, Christians respect each other. Christians serve each other, and they take responsibility. So our core values at home are Christian, love, respect, and responsibility. And that does not mean that we do not have any other values. We actually have values of work. I teach my children the value of work. The values of respect. Respect, responsibility, love, and actually hard work. It's just not hard. It's not just work, but hard work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now here we are talking about the power of a man's values. In this conversation, why should we focus on the man, in your view?
Because the man got the first instructions from God. God gave instructions. The very first instructions were given to man. And actually, the woman came as a helper. And a suitable helper for that matter. So this man got instructions, and he is supposed to provide leadership.
Okay.
So ideally, a man at home is the leader. And the leader is assumed to know the way, to go the way, and to show the way.
Know the way,
Know the
go
way,
the way,
go the way,
and show the way.
and show the way. Now, where, and the woman really comes in because is supporting, is providing a supportive role, is also doing there are so many things that men cannot do, but women are able to do. But the man is supposed to be the leader at home. He's supposed to, and leadership means influencing, so he is supposed to, guide.
It doesn't mean commanding people around
he's supposed
and
to,
forcing them to do some things against their will.
No, it is not about manipulation.
Yes.
It's not about intimidation.
It's not about putting feet on the table to remove the socks and bring water to massage the feet. No,
it's not about pride. There is actually a lot of power. I think I will say something about that.
Okay.
But the man is the leader, and he's supposed to be the vision bearer for the home.
Yeah.
So a leader usually is a vision bearer. And once you have a vision, then you want to share that vision. So the man therefore needs to coin the vision, because every man should actually have a vision of their family. You would like to have your home to be known for something, your family to be known for something. There's a legacy each one of us is trying to build for their family. So as a man, you need to develop that vision of a legacy. You need to communicate that. You need to share that. You need to build the capacity. You need to train everyone around you to make sure that vision is picked and does not collapse with you. And the man is the chief priest. The expectation is that, you are not going to raise an altar. You are not going to wait for children to be the ones to raise an altar.
Yes.
The leadership really comes from the man, is making sure that things are done. Not by coercing people, but by influencing people. And the best way of influencing people is actually doing what is right.
Okay.
It's doing what is right, because the man, in the expectation is that the man is a role model at home.
So in essence, we should focus on the man because he's a vision bearer, he's the leader of the family, he should know the way, go the way, and show the way. He's the chief priest, and he received the original instructions from the Creator.
He received the original instruction. I think I have said this before, and I have also had many other colleagues, many other people saying it. That I think Adam was involved in so many other things. So I like being at home because I really don't want the devil to come and have as much time as he had with Eve. I don't know what Adam was doing, quite honestly.
Yes.
But the devil had a lot of time with Eve, with his wife. He explained exactly. He tried even to teach her, to give her another perspective of life, to tell her that God was a liar, and to convince her, and she believed. And after believing, she actually brought Adam, on board. So so it is our responsibility as men, really, to be around.
Okay.
And find out what is happening. Find time for our spouses. Find time for our families. Find time even for our relatives, some. Because, if we have the light, then we need to shine this light.
All right. Yeah. So, these values that we are talking about, what drives the formation of a man's values? What are the drivers of the formation of a man's values? Where do these values come from? What brings a man to start to live some values in his life?
Maybe before I delve into that, Sam, I really needed also to tell our viewers, our listeners, that there is power in values. There is power, a lot of power. There is power in being truthful. There is power in integrity. There is power in humility. There is power in being trusted. There is a lot of power in being real, being yourself, and not really trying to become artificial. There is a lot of power. And integrity is about taking responsibility, knowing that I was wrong here, and I need to correct this, and I need to take responsibility for my mistakes.
All right.
There's a lot of power, and the power is really supposed to be, you just pick it. It just comes naturally, and people will say that person is powerful, is a man of integrity.
Okay,
I
so
also
the
want
power
to-
is coming from the values that one
Exactly.
has.
So power comes from values one has.
Okay.
It is very bad for a person. You are our president, the President Fathers Union.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be telling lies. You can't.
The devil.
You cannot. You can't be a leader and you are telling lies.
Yes.
You cannot be a leader and you are stealing.
Are you saying that a leader must be Vice Holy Spirit, Deputy Almighty, Jesus Junior, Holy, like an angel, never having temptations that sometimes overcome him or her? Is that what you are insinuating?
Not an angel, but you really need to stand for certain standards.
Okay.
People should know that this one, Jothn Tereraho will not accept.
Mm-hmm. And I think they come to that conclusion
Yes.
after watching you over some time. It's not a once.
Some do not care that people are listening to you. Care that they are watching you.
Yeah, that's a quotable quote.
Yes.
Do not care that people are listening to you.
Yes.
Care that people are watching.
They are
you.
watching you. They are watching you. They are watching the things you have been doing. I can assure you. On yesterday, but my colleagues at World Vision were sending me off. They were saying farewell to me because I have been working, and I think it is time for me to. And I told them one of the big things that has been keeping me, seriously in check is that I am called Papa John.
Mm.
So they call me Papa John. Everyone in the corridors, everywhere, Papa John. Even my supervisor calls me Papa John. And so when you get to that point of being called Papa John, then you must watch out.
Yeah.
And nobody wakes up to call you Papa John. There must be a reason for calling you Papa John.
Yeah.
So when, and people want to associate with you because of that. And I told them, guys, you gave me something very heavy, and I have been carrying it. And I'm actually going to continue carrying it, because if you are Papa, then you try and remain Papa.
Okay.
So you cannot be called Papa and you are doing things that are that are not aligned to values.
Okay. So what drives the formation of a
So what drives the formation are actually world views.
Mm-hmm.
What we call world views.
What's that?
Now world views are, they are belief systems. They are belief systems that shape a person's perceptions, that shape their values,
Yes.
that shape their actions, that shape their way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And these worldviews are attitudinal. They can be attitudinal.
Do you mean they can be in the form of attitudes?
They can be form of attitudes. So, me and you, Sam, one of us might be optimistic, an optimistic man.
Yes.
Another
hopeful.
one is a pessimistic person.
A hopeless person.
Yes. So one of us might actually be a very positive person.
Yes.
Another one is very negative. So if you are at home and your nature is negativity,
Yes.
then your children, I don't know what kind of values they are going to develop. They will be negative.
They will develop sarcasm.
Everybody would be negative. But if so if you are a sympathetic man, if you are a peaceful person, a compassionate person, you are going to develop values of compassion in your family.
Yeah.
So those are attitudinal. Then you also have ideological. How the world, ideological is about how the world should be structured. Do you think about sharing? For example, are you a person who would you like to be a socialist, Are you capitalistic? So capitalists don't care about capitalists. They take everything around them, and it is okay. And they are not going to be sharing everything. Everything they will make profit, even if profit means they make everybody else collapse, and that's it. And so you're a capitalist, and most likely your children will be capitalists.
Yes.
You develop values of capitalism. You develop values of communism, values of socialism. Then you also have the religious.
So we have attitudinal, ideological, and religious.
And then we also have religious, but we also have philosophical. So the religious ones, you know, I mean, I told you that, and I know you too, that it is very important. It's very important when we say let's pray. Even my one year and 9 month old baby, it will not make noise. And when we say amen, amen is one of the first words he learned to speak. Huh? Yes.
So that's a religious value
it's
of
a
prayer.
Exactly. So you begin there. So what is actually forming the values is what is happening. Is what is happening at home, what is happening in the community, what is happening with the people you interact with, what is happening with the environment you are working in, and that's it. And then philosophical, you are talking about people, I mean, people who question things about, these are people who question things like nature. They are looking at fundamental questions of life.
Yes.
So then you'll find
questions like, what is man?
What is man? You know, how,
what is the purpose of
what
life?
Is the purpose of life? Those are things. So around, you know, so those are the foundations of values. And at the end of the day, and you'll actually find that a man is driven by one of these or a combination of all these. But one of these has to be dominant. You will definitely find one of them being dominant.
Would that happen by choice or by chance, that one of them is overriding all the others?
It depends on your background.
In terms of family?
It depends on your background, in terms of family, in terms of educational background, in terms of the environment in which you grew. And because then you end up thinking like the people you studied with, maybe the school that trained you, the family that raised you, and maybe the work that, the work, the mentors, the people you know inspired you, things like that. That's why
I shouldn't take my children to just any school.
You don't have to take your children just to any school. Don't. That's a very big mistake, because you take them and they will pick values that that you don't subscribe to, and it will be very unfortunate for you.
So these values, therefore, are driven by world views, which are belief systems that shape a person's way of life.
Exactly.
Some of which could be attitudinal.
Yes.
Others could be ideological.
Yes.
Others could be religious.
And
but
then
others could be philosophical.
Yes. So, and as a man, if we can get back to what the man should do, it's actually empower these views. Empowering the world of view, these world views. Now you empower them through teaching, and for us, and I really want to speak as head of Laity, as a Christian. So and I would actually, and we have that model in World Vision, which we call empowered world view. And you use the word of God, because that is the truth. That is the fundamental truth. So what was the purpose? What was the purpose of God's creation? What did God intend when he was creating man? What was the intention for marriage? What was the intention for family?
So where do you place the person who doesn't even believe in God? Right now he's watching. I can tell you he's watching.
Yes.
So now he's trying to make sense of this. Everything we are saying, what was God's intention for creation in the beginning? What was God's purpose for marriage?
Yes.
And that person, we are just matter. We are substance.
Yes,
so how do you help that man? Because that man also must be helped.
That person is an atheist or is not.
So where does he place a life of values?
But that person also knows what really is supposed to guide them. So, and for me, what matters what really matters a lot is that the Word of God would be a very good guide for me. I would recommend it for that person.
Okay.
I would recommend it.
He
for
should
that
be
person.
adventurous in the Word
They
of
should
God
be
and see
adventurous.
what could be there.
Because, if we are talking, we are talking about fundamental things.
Yes.
Like when you look at the commandments, the commandments when you look at Deuteronomy chapter 6, from verse 6 to verse 9, when Moses was telling these guys, he was saying, teach these children these commandments, these laws. Write them on the walls, write them everywhere, teach them on the doorsteps, teach them. So, even if you don't believe in God, is it not right that you teach the things you believe in? You teach them to the children.
Now, let me surprise you, John, that not only are there people, men watching now who may not even believe in God, but there are also those who actually don't believe in values. They see it as a waste of time. They see it as a wasted conversation. So could you, in just a minute or two, speak to that man to understand why values are important today, even more than before?
Well, it's quite sad. It would be sad to have somebody who does not really. Let me tell you, sin is committed knowingly. It is committed knowingly. So a person.
What does that mean?
Somebody goes, he knows he's stealing. Somebody steals, and they actually know they are not doing it accidentally. They plan how to steal, and they actually go and steal.
It's a conscious effort.
It is a very conscious effort.
A deliberate action.
So if somebody chooses not to have any value, any standard of living, and they say, my standard is going to be contrary to what, contrary. I'm going to have my own standard. And there will be, we shall have deviance. So why are we having, why should we be talking about values today? I think that's the biggest challenge. That's the biggest challenge. We need to talk about values because friends watching us, we have no inheritance if we don't think about values. We do not have any legacy.
So are you saying values are important because they are an inheritance?
No, the values are very important because they are creating a secure. They are very necessary for us to create a secure future for ourselves, for our children, and for children of our children. And a good man leaves an inheritance for children of their children. We
thought that is leaving for them money, land,
no,
houses.
It is not leaving them money. You can leave money in one day, and in 1 week, in 2 weeks, there is no money. They are beggars, they are on the street. But if you have inculcated in them the values of hard work, the values of respect, the values of accountability, the values of, they will keep that money. So that money, you invest for them, and somebody invests in them. Somebody investing in them is actually, putting values in them, and most likely, the one who has invested in children is going to have a longer lasting legacy than the one who has invested for them. It's good to invest for them, but don't forget to invest in them.
So in other words, what matters most is not what we leave for our children,
it is what we leave in them. In them.
Okay.
In them.
So that's the value of values.
It is in them. So when you have a young man getting a stone and throwing and smashing a car of a person they have not quarreled, when you have a strike in a university and the next and the business people around the university are in trouble. If you have disagreed with the university administration, why would you go through to the shops in a neighboring
it's just
town?
a way of showing my dissatisfaction.
Exactly. So where is you have a situation out here. I am telling you, I had a very difficult evening traveling up to here. Because the jam, I found a jam on Gayaza Road. I said, no,
Traffic
this is
jam.
too much. So let me use Burindo. And it was worse. You know why? It's because people have that self-entitlement. So nobody would like, there are a few people, they are good people who are really along the line. They are in the lane and they are driving properly. But there are those who are overtaking, they are overlapping, and then you end up having...
All of them want to go fast at the junction.
All of them, they are there, and none of them is actually going. You spend 20, 30, 40 minutes, and until a policeman comes, you cannot sort yourselves out. So that's a problem. You even have people with big cars these days who think that for them they should be allowed, and they even go hooting. They have that sense of entitlement. So we are going to have a society...
They lack values.
Exactly. We are going to have a society where the majority feel entitled, and when all those who feel entitled clash, we shall have a crash. We shall have a crash. So we need values. We need values. Let me tell you.
So the values help us to avoid deviance.
Exactly.
They create a secure future.
Exactly.
They instill discipline in the community
and
create
they
order.
They ensure posterity. You cannot imagine somebody waking up and thinking that I do not have money, so I'll get it from anywhere. I'll use any means to have the money. No. Get it when you get money anyhow. It's going to be very dangerous.
Okay.
So and that's why we are having. Just look at our very, very advanced people of the West. The far they have gone. They have, the other day somebody wedded with a crocodile.
Wow.
But in their culture, I think it was in Brazil. But in their culture, when you wed, you are supposed to kiss your bride. But the crocodile was tied. They had to tie its. So why did he tie his wife? Why did he tie his wife?
Madness.
So you raise a son and he marries a crocodile.
Isn't that an indictment on how you raised him? Isn't it an indictment on you, the parent?
It's
unless you say you really did your best, but then somehow the young man was corrupted by the society.
Yes. I am telling you, and I'm telling you, it is a hard thing. We need to focus on what matters most, because, what I'm talking about is something out here. You have a son, and he comes and says, Dad, I have brought you my wife, and he brings another man. You have a daughter, and she says, I'm bringing my husband, and she brings another girl. What kind of value system are we talking about? These are things we need to look at.
Now, John, we have only 9 minutes to the end of this program.
Thank you.
How can I be a man of values if I never saw them in my family when I was growing up? How can I be a man of values? I never saw values being lived out. So, where is the hope for a person like that?
Wow, that's a very big question. But the family is really very fundamental. Maybe that's where we need to begin with. Somebody viewing us needs to recognize that missing values at the family level is going to be very difficult to correct.
Okay, so in other words, if I miss the values at the family level, I no longer have any hope.
No, there is.
So how can I live them?
There is hope in school. There is also hope in society. There is hope in church. But I want you to know that it is, again, the family that takes a child to school. It is actually the family that begins the journey to the church. Yes. In most cases. It is the family that introduces a young person to
spiritual matters,
to faith and society. It is the family that introduces this child to relatives and friends. So there is actually that hope. There is that hope, and you see, it is not right that you wake up one morning and you say. My destination is Masaka, and all of a sudden you find yourself, you are in Kampala, and you find your destination is Masaka, and all of a sudden you realize you are in Rugazi. So do you proceed? No? Because you wanted to go to Masaka.
Yes.
That's why you have business. But somehow you got lost, and you're in Rugazi. So do you proceed because you have covered
Yeah,
the
you
long
will
distance?
proceed if you have not yet known that you are going to the wrong direction.
No, so it's important. Of course, the reason why we are here, we are talking to people, is that it is actually possible to change. It's possible to change.
Yeah. Okay. So even if I grew up in a family where these good values were not lived out, there is possibility for me to pick them in school.
Yes,
there is a possibility for me
yes.
to pick them from the society.
Yes.
There is a possibility to pick them from the spiritual centers like churches. Also through mentorship and reading books.
We are human beings. We have the ability to discern. We
Yeah.
should know what is good and what is. You don't have an excuse to behave queer.
Just because your
just
father was
because
like that.
you think my father was a night dancer and therefore
it's in the blood.
no,
It's
no,
genetical.
no. You can't say because at home things were done in the wrong way.
Yes.
And you are now in a community of civilized people. You think this is how we do our things, and this is how Daddy did things, and no.
By the way, talking about this, how possible do you think it is for a man to stick to his own values, especially in a world that praises the crooked and laughs at the upright? How possible is it to stick to your values when you are living in a world that is busy praising the crooked, it is busy, exonerating the guilty, putting the innocent in prison, laughing at those who are upright? How can you stick to your values in such an environment as a man?
Well, just find out those guys who have decided to ignore values, and establish whether they are actually happy. Go and find out if the thieves of iron sheets have had a good time. Those who stole iron sheets from Karamoja.
Do they care?
They do. I'm telling you, their conscience is at war with them. I am very sure when they wake up, they think about the iron sheets they stole, and they're in trouble. They're in trouble. So you can choose.
Is it that the very? I think that's proof of what I'm telling you.
Yes.
That it wasn't possible for them to stick to the values. So my question is, how possible is it to stick to our values when we are in such a society?
It is possible, Sam. It's possible. There are many Ugandans, there are many people in this world who are actually living and working hard for a living. And they are earning, they are living in the right way. They are doing business, they are not stealing, they are paying all taxes, they are driving in the right lane. They are not quarreling with anybody, they are working hard.
They don't steal money at the workplace.
They don't steal money at the workplace. They don't cheat anything, and they are there.
Yes.
You might want to think that they are few, but they are there.
They just don't go broadcasting themselves.
They don't go broadcasting themselves. And they are there. And actually, I can assure you, there are many. There are many people who still have a heart for society, and they are conscious about doing what is right.
Okay.
So it's now a question of choice. And say, okay, for me and my family, it is okay to steal. If you make that choice, and you are going to talk about it wherever you are.
And every evening when your child is coming back from school, you ask them, so what did you steal today from school? You haven't brought a new book that is not yours.
But let me tell you, I always tell my friends that even a very bad person would like to have good people around them.
That's true.
So
even thieves want to be honest to each other.
Yes, even thieves would like to be honest.
After they have stolen, they want to share honestly and fairly.
They want to share honestly and fairly. So they also have those values in the crooked way of doing things, but they also have values. And they would like to have people with values around them. They wouldn't like to work with people who steal from them, even if they have stolen, or even if they are thieves. They don't want anybody to steal from them. And they will talk about somebody's good behavior, even if they are not well behaved.
So what I'm hearing are 3 C's from what you've talked about. One is choice, that I can choose to stick to my values. It's a choice.
It's a choice.
C number 2 is company. I can surround myself with people who are strong in these values so that it rubs off on me. And C number 3 is commitment, that I can decide that I'm going to dedicate myself to this kind of a life. It's a choice. Company and commitment.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. It's a commitment. And somebody would, I hate people saying that young man is very smart. They are actually not saying that Pharaoh is a thief. That the Pharaoh can manipulate these days figures.
6 can become 8,
and
7 can be 9.
And then they say he's very smart. That's not the kind of smartness you should be talking about.
Okay. So as we come to the close of this, what would you say is the role of the man in building a value system for his family and even the society?
Number one, a man is supposed to define what he stands for and what he would like his family to stand for. In other words, he's the vision bearer. He is the leader. He is supposed to influence people around him. His spouse, his spouse, his children, and everybody around them, his workers. All those people should actually appreciate the values.
Yes.
They should know what he stands for, what he would like his legacy to be. You start, the end from the beginning, and you manage what is in between.
Okay.
Then he is the one supposed to communicate. So you must find an opportunity to communicate what you believe in, what to share, because you want this value. You want your values to be shared. You want them to be owned. You want them to be taken up. So the man is supposed to communicate, and then he's the chief priest. I said this earlier. He's the chief priest, and he is the teacher at home. He's the teacher, knowingly or unknowingly. I told you that do not care that people are listening to you. Care that they are actually seeing what they are seeing you. They are looking at you. They are watching you. So and at home, therefore, the man is the role model.
Okay.
Is the role model. So you don't want to tell children, guys, be at home early. And for you are at home,
At midnight.
At midnight. You say, guys, we should respect the table so that, and even for you, you are never there. So the man really is, that's it, because you've had, like father,
like son.
Like father,
monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey see, monkey.
Okay. Wow. This is very critical. Maybe one last more question before we close the program. You remember you were quoting the Bible quite a number of times. You remember in the Bible there was this gentleman called Job.
Yes.
And somebody told me recently that the word Job appears in the Bible only when it is the name of a person, not what the job that people have. So he was making a case for not being in a job world.
Yeah.
But anyway, there is that gentleman called Job, and he had his wife. And in one of the chapters, we see an interesting conversation that can help us wrap up this conversation on values, man's values. She told the husband and said, but why are you struggling? My husband, why don't you curse God and die? Why are you sticking to your integrity?
Deny God.
In a nutshell, she was saying, why are you having the pain of standing for your values? And this was the spouse. So my last question to you, Papa John, how can a man handle if his spouse puts him on pressure to compromise his values, especially for family benefit? For example, the wife says, no, you are in charge of the money, you are the accountant at your workplace, bring some money, we need to pay fees for our children, pick money from the workplace, I know it is not yours. How can a man deal with the pressure of a spouse who is forcing him to compromise with his own values?
Wow, that's a hard one, but also a simple one.
It is simply hard.
Yeah, it is simply hard. The spouse will go as far as they know. They will stretch you because they know you can be stretched. They stretch you.
You just said a very profound statement.
Yes, because
John.
they know you can be stretched. Let me tell you, my wife, with whom we have been 33 years, cannot, from the word go, she cannot tell me to steal. She cannot, because she knows that I cannot steal. She cannot attempt.
Okay.
So it depends on where you started and how you started.
Who you are.
It depends on who you are. So, and that's why we need values. We are calling them standards. And standards they are principles. Principles, you don't have options for them. That today I am going to have this principle of having integrity, of being a man of integrity, but tomorrow I can try and not be a man of integrity. No.
You don't put them on and off like a
yes,
shirt.
You are either a man of integrity or not.
Okay.
You can either be trusted or not.
So if my spouse pressurizes me, I should stand my ground nonetheless.
You stand your ground and you actually teach her the consequences of doing that kind of thing.
Okay.
She might not want to listen to you, but you're not going to be, because now that means that is the burden you have.
All right.
Because that's a burden you are going to carry. Because God hates divorce. You're not going to send her away. You are actually going to say, Mama, this is simply not right. I am a man, and a man does not do what is not right. In your language, I know, in your language, people will say, Bakutana no mshija. Bakutana is a man, which means Bakutana is a man. What does that mean?
I don't know. Are they saying he puts on a trouser?
Does it mean Bakutana puts on a trouser? He has a big beard. He has what? No, it means Bakutana has, has qualities of, qualities that define a man, a real human being.
So they're actually talking of values.
Strong standards, and those are values. They know Bakutana is a man. You can rely on him. He's dependable. He's trustworthy. He's a man of integrity. But they will say, that one is nothing. He's a man, smart, in a suit.
He's a male, not a man.
He's a male, actually, but not a man.
Wow.
So if you are going to sit down and allow your wife to drive you into the coffers of government money, and you get money, then she will prepare to come through Zira and bring you posho.
Parting shots. What is your final message in less than 10 seconds?
My final message is that there is no alternative to parenting. Friends, the people who are undermining our values, people who are working very hard and they are bored. They're working very hard and they are bored. So we cannot deal with values casually. We need to deal with values with the seriousness they deserve.
All right.
And that begins with parenting. And there is no alternative to parenting. Even if you have a very good school where your children go, please find time for children. Because values begin at a family level. It is the foundation. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, John. This is very important. Values are a very serious business. We should not take it lightly. We have clearly seen that values are very critical because they avoid deviance in the community. They help us to create a secure future. They enable us to instill discipline, create order, and ensure postility. And we have realized that these values can sometimes be attitudinal, they can be ideological, they can be religious, they can even be philosophical. Now, even if you have never seen them in your own family at home where you grew up from being lived out very well, you still can pick them. You can pick them from school. You can pick them from the society. You can pick them from the church. You can pick them from mentors. You can pick them from coaches and teachers and reading of books. There is no excuse as to why you as a man, you should not have very important values in your home and in your life and in your family. And we have realized that it is very possible for you to stick to those values, even when all around us, people are laughing at those who are upright and they are praising those who are crooked. You can do that because of the 3 C's that we have talked about. Choice. You can make your choice. You can have good company, but also you can make a commitment and say, for me, my life is going to be different. So as we end this program, remember what your role is as a man concerning building a value system for your family and for the community. Begin by defining what you want to stand for as a man. That's number 1. This is homework. Go and work on it. Define what you are going to stand for as a man in your life. Number 2, define what your family should stand for. Because you lead the family, you lead this institution. What is this institution going to stand for? That institution called your family. You may want to bring together your family and you have a conversation around this question, number 2. Number 3, influence those around you concerning living the values you have decided to espouse. Your wife, your children, your workmates, learn to have a life of influence concerning those values. And number 4, regularly communicate those values. And finally, and most importantly, be the epitome, the demonstration, the display, the pattern, the role model, the standard of those very values. Because, as John has said, do not care that people are listening to you. Instead, you care that people are seeing you. So go and take action. Invest in your children, not for your children per se, concerning the values we have talked about. Go and develop a vision for your family. Go and determine your legacy, and go and ensure that there are values in your home. A man must be known by the values he stands for.
Sure.
Happy retirement, Papa John.
I am going to put on another tire.
All right.
You know, it is. I'm just 61.
Only 61.
Only 61.
Can you imagine?
So I need to put on another tire and actually begin a journey. It is just
see you with new tires.
Yeah.
You can be sure we'll be working together concerning many different things.
And
thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been awesome being with you today. This has been the Inspired Family Leader program, where we empower, challenge, equip, and inspire men to expand their family leadership capacity for national transformation. Go, make sure you live exemplarily, you love authentically, and you lead relationally. Until next time, God bless you.
Amen.